What is up, YouTube? This is Evan Magician 34 bringing you today's The Edge. And today's card we're going to be focusing on is Gliscor. This is Gliscor from Phantom Forces, and his 90 HP and 1 energy retreat isn't what interests us today. What interests us is his first attack, Submission Hold. For 1 fighting energy, it does 20 damage. Not the greatest, but not the worst, because this is a fighting Pokemon after all. And it makes it so that your opponent can attach an energy from their hand to the defending Pokemon during the next turn. So, it's an interesting attack because it makes setup for your opponent difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. And in a lot of ways, it makes their active Pokemon when you consider that fighting types also have cards like Strong Energy, Fighting Stadium, and Muscle Band at their disposal. When you think about cards like that, then you consider that really, in a lot of ways, getting hit by Submission Hold for the active Pokemon makes it kind of a waste for your opponent to power it up at all. So in a lot of ways, they kind of have to just toss the Pokemon. I mean, they just can't use it. So it's actually kind of a guaranteed kill in a way. Some opponents might still keep committing energy, but a lot of times they're just going to throw it away and try to power up a benched Pokemon, which works out in your favor, because number one, you're probably going to end up getting an early kill on your whatever Pokemon your opponent leads, but also, you can use it as a setup. Cards like Lysander go very well with Gliscor. You can essentially Submission Hold their first Pokemon, and they may end up going, okay, I just took 40, 60 damage, and I can't attach an energy. Alright, I'm just going to power up a benched Pokemon and fodder off my lead or whatever. Okay, not bad. But then you get to Lysander, whatever they were powering up, and consider combining that with cards like Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer, which can easily complement your Gliscor. And now you can call up a new Pokemon, remove its energy, and prevent a new one from going on. Now you're spreading damage, and you're making it very difficult for your opponent to set up. I mean, once again, there are ways around Submission Hold, but then you're forcing your opponent to burn cards like Escape Rope and Switch, which might prove more useful later in the game at more crucial times. And I think few cards combine better with Gliscor than Korrina. What makes Korrina combine so very well with Gliscor is the fact that, well, Gliscor is a Stage 1 Pokemon after all. And so all you really need is to start with Gligar, and then on the next turn you can Korrina, get the Gliscor, you don't need a rare candy or anything like that, and you can use her to either, worst case scenario, you can get a Professor's Letter to make sure you have the fighting energy. Although, probably you'll have that. Instead, you can use Korrina to pick up things like Enhanced Hammer to make sure that that Submission Hold really hurts your opponent. Of course, you could opt for things like Pokemon Catcher and whatnot, but I think, moreover, it's better to aim for Muscle Band and Hammers to make sure that that Submission Hold is the most controlling in the early game it can be. Of course, since we're going after the active Pokemon, I think we have to mention Team Flare Grunt as well. For when we're not opting for Korrina or Lysander, Team Flare Grunt is a great way to keep that lead Pokemon, that active Pokemon that this guy is going to be targeting down anyway, from being able to do much of anything at all. Flare Grunt to take away their energy, and then Submission Hold to make sure they don't get a new one. This is all about putting your opponent in a difficult situation. Of course, Gliscor is probably not going to be doing kills by himself, but some Pokemon aren't meant to be win conditions. They're meant to help you make your win conditions more possible, more practical. And of course, in fighting, with cards like Muscle Band and Fighting Stadium and Strong Energy and whatnot, and definitely with hammers to slow your opponent down, we have plenty of options like Landorus EX and Lucario EX who can play as complements here to help Gliscor essentially finish the job. Control your opponent, slow them down a lot in the early game, just kill their tempo, and when they finally overcome that, they've already taken some tempo damage, essentially. In other words, their game is really slowed down. Now you can use Pokemon like this to kind of swoop in for the kill and start picking up knockouts. I mean, consider with Gliscor, you can easily empty out your hand, and then once you're done, use Lucario EX and his Corkscrew Smash to restore your hand up to 6 cards. Pretty powerful stuff. And after all, since Gliscor has a 1 energy retreat, when it's time to go a little more aggressive and stop playing the slow motion Submission Hold strategy, you can just discard that 1 energy you were using for Submission Hold to retreat him, and go out into somebody a lot more threatening. That also, of course, means that it only takes 1 turn of playing energy to get Gliscor going, and then all your other turns that you're going to be using him, you can be putting energy on other threats, getting them ready to hit your opponent instead for more damage. So, That's your tech card for the day on The Edge, and until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more Pokemon content.